The two big institutions of higher learning in Limpopo, that is the University of Limpopo as well as the University of Venda, are still processing applications for the 2024 academic year. At the University of Limpopo, 40% of first entering students have already been processed and accepted, and 90% of returning students have also been processed. At the University of Venda, 2,300 students have already been processed out of 3,600 spaces that are available at the university. The University of Limpopo has received over 200,000 applications, whereas the University of Venda has received over 90,000 applications. But in the meantime, the University of Limpopo has issued a notice to students warning them about measures to implement to sort of look after crime and prevent crime during the registration period. The safety tips are mainly issued for first entering students. But for more on this, we're going to speak to the University Registrar, Professor Kwena Masha. Thank you for joining us on SABC News. We see that your registration process is online and it's continuing very well. You've processed about 40% of your applications for first entering students. But during that period, you've also issued a message that is very important, mainly about tips and safety tips during registration period. Talk to us more about that.
Thanks. It is indeed very important that whenever we have a major event such as the registration of the first entering students, we alert everybody. Based on our experience from the previous years, that whenever such a big occasion is happening, there will always be those people who take advantage of the first entering students. As I indicated at some stage, we had in the previous registration an incident of a parent who was coming as far away as Bushbuck Ridge, who was robbed of his valuable money because of trusting the so-called middlemen. And as universities, we don't have that. That's why we don't want people, and we don't really encourage people to come physically or in person to the university. It is much safer when you're doing it from home. That's why we have reinforced our visual online registration. We call it remote online registration, so that people can register within the safety of their homes. And once they are registered, then they can proceed to come here. But even when they are coming here, we giving them the safety tips so that they can always remain alert to avoid falling into these traps that are set. Because as I said, whenever there is a big event, there will always be. We have realized that as the university, and we want to keep everybody alert, even our returning students, when they are returning back to campus, to say, all of us should be alert. All of us should prevent crime. All of us as the university. It is our responsibility. So that's the reason why we issued that directive or those tips, just to help us to make sure that the environment remains safe all the time. Remember, when you're coming into a big place like the university for the first time, the setting itself is intimidating. So you need to find a way of settling quickly. So these tips are very helpful to make sure that our students are very much settled.
Thank you very much. And for this specific registration season, has there been any incidents where students came and complained of being scammed either by those who are masquerading as officials of the university? Have you also had any cases opened with the police in this regard?
Not at the moment, and hopefully that's because the tips are working. Not at the moment, we haven't received anything, but we are still very early. We aren't as yet midway through this process. Remember, we started on the 25th. Today is the 30th. We just around halfway mark. The rest of this week we'll continue with our registrations, and we'll be mopping up the registration further into the new week. So it is still very early, and normally cases like this, they don't just become reported immediately. Normally they are reported towards the tail end of the registration. So, but we hope the strategy is working, that we will never ever have those incidences this time around.
And talk to us about physical security on campus. We understand you've beefed up security. I'm not sure if it's a new contract, but we see them wearing black, obviously trying to make sure that there is safety that is prevailing in the campus. Talk to us more about that.
Yes, as I said, registration, even if it's taking place online, it remains a big event. So we have beefed up our security to ensure that we don't have disruptions and we don't create an impression that we are providing a service here on campus.